Hi there, I'm Michael Bovee with Consumer Recovery Network, and welcome to our YouTube channel, DebtBytes. Today I want to talk about how to get credit, establish credit, or get financing after you've filed for bankruptcy. First of all, there's a misconception, it's abound, it's very prevalent, about how bankruptcy is a death sentence to your credit or your access to credit for 10 years in the case of Chapter 7, because it appears on your credit report for 10 years, so this assumption or this myth, if you will, is pervasive because of how long it's on there. And then in the case of Chapter 13, it's on there for 7 years. But when it comes to Chapter 7 and how long you're going to be unable to qualify for certain types of loans and credit, there's a lot of misinformation out there. So when you file for Chapter 7, it trumps all of the debt relief options usually as far as affordability and time frames for you to get out of debt. National average $1,500–1,800, somewhere around there for your Chapter 7 filing total. And let's say you got $20,000 of debt, paying that back in a consolidation could mean $21,000–22,000 that you repay over 5 years. Settling that debt, assuming half off, means you have to come up with $10,000, whereas $1,500 for bankruptcy possibly. It wins on a cost basis, but guess what? It wins on a credit basis. So when you file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and in today's economy where we're in and out of a recession, who knows, it's just job market and things like that are challenging. In this economy, legitimate reasons to go out and get credit would include keeping a roof over your head, so a mortgage, or maybe you need to refi a mortgage, take advantage of a lower interest rate. A car for dependable transportation, absolutely necessary to get to and from work to earn a living. And or education, your own, if you're going to go back to school, or to support a child, like a Parent Plus loan, okay? Here are 3 legitimate reasons to get credit, and after a bankruptcy, here's how you're impaired. It's certainly not the 10-year thing. So if you want to get FHA type of underwriting, you need to usually have a 620 score-ish. You could do it with a 580, but 620 is common. And you're pretty much time barred after a Chapter 7 bankruptcy from being able to do that, not just because of a score, but 2 years. That's the underwriting time frame. And when it comes to getting walking onto a car lot and getting pretty decent rate, you're looking at 12 months probably after your Chapter 7 discharge. And then for school loans, it could be as much as 3 years for federally backed loans. So work that into your time frames, and suddenly bankruptcy actually can beat out consolidation as far as how soon you'll have access to credit again, depending on the circumstances, and can compete easily with settlement, because in order to settle you have to fall behind significantly, and or you need time to save up that 10 grand in this hypothetical that I gave. So let's say it takes you 12 months to settle all your debt and another 12 to 24 for your credit to bounce back. So this Chapter 7 timeline for financing is very competitive, and nothing competes with it, like I mentioned, as far as cost and savings and time, because bankruptcy can take 90 days, Chapter 7. So rebuilding your credit is sometimes contingent upon what you kept open in a bankruptcy. So somebody who reconfirmed their mortgage, they're obviously going to continue to pay that because they want to keep the home. So that's a positive that stays on your credit. Versus somebody who didn't have that, you have a little bit more building to do. If you already have a car loan and you reconfirmed your car note, which you can do in a bankruptcy, and you continue to make monthly payments on that, that's helpful, right? But when you're discharging all of your debt, within a couple of months, you are going to often get pre-approved credit offers in the mail. Capital One is a great credit rebuilding creditor out there that will take as long as you didn't discharge their debt in a Chapter 7, which you can still get a Capital One card later, but not immediately. There are other unsecured creditors out there that will give you unsecured credit card debt after a bankruptcy within just a few months. So pick one, and obviously your rates are going to be terrible, and the available credit limits aren't going to be very high. But they're there nonetheless, and you take advantage of one and maybe 2 tops, okay? If you haven't had a car loan, and by the way, on those credit cards, you really just want to pay them off every month. Use them for a latte or something, but just don't get in the habit of using the cards for any expenses or bills or anything, because it can become overwhelming. you want your credit utilization on those cards, especially because they're probably going to be smaller limits, to be under 30% and preferably under 10%. So just pay them off each month. And after 6 months of consistently doing that, you'll look and see that your credits can start to improve. Now, if you don't have a car loan, that is a great fixed loan, secured fixed loan to have to help reestablish your credit. If you're in a position financially to be able to do that as a rebuilding tool, whether it's in the first year, usually I would recommend you do that in the second year because the rates are going to be a little bit better a year after your bankruptcy. That's something to take on. Even a lease, something that is a fixed loan. Furniture stores are okay, but that's not necessarily something that is built into our everyday life. It's a luxury. It's something we might want to do. If we need to replace furniture, great, fine, do it. But if it's not a necessity, don't launch into something just because it's a credit rebuilder and maybe one piece of furniture or something like that. You can also open secured cards. I've long been a fan of Bank of America, for example, because they have a secured credit card program that obviously secured means you have money on deposit. So if you put $500, I like B of A because they have such a smaller amount that you can do this with. You put $500 into an account that is savings, basically. It secures the $500 limit on the card. You use the card again for one bag of groceries, pay it off every month. After you do that, often for 6 months, you have the card open for 6 months, you can take the $500 out, turn that secured card into an unsecured card, and then over time start to get credit limit increases every 6 months, every year sometimes. Now, I like Bank of America because that $500 is an amount that most of us can come up with over a short period of time to secure and open the account. Your local credit union might have these kind of programs. Your current bank might have these kind of programs. So talk to them about that and see what the deposit rate is going to be. I've seen some as high as $1,000 or $1,200. And if you have that to work with, fine, go for it. But try and look for smaller ones that you can start out with. So those are just some basic ways that you can start to look to rebuild your credit after a Chapter 7. And I wanted to include some of that background as what you can qualify for and how long it takes, because that's the kind of window of time that you have to start to look to accomplish your financial goals after a Chapter 7, take those basic rebuilding tools and move forward. One other thing is getting yourself added as an authorized user. Sometimes that means your parents. What if your mom or dad has a long established account, 15, 20 years, credit card, American Express or Chase or something like that, and they add you as an authorized user? You don't even have to have the card. They can just add you as an authorized user. It'll show up on your credit report, and they can get the card mailed to them, or you can hand it to them when you get it, and you never use it. But you get the benefit of some of that depth of credit history showing up on your credit because you probably destroyed some of that depth of history when you filed bankruptcy and got your credit cards included in the discharge. Now you don't have that history, long amount of time with an established account, but you can borrow it from somebody who likes you. See you on the next video.